Hello, great YouTube. Okay, so I wanted to make a video for Forza because it's content. I wanted to really show you guys how far it's really come. Maybe you're considering actually getting Forza. Okay, so this video is going to show you how it's really operating on high-end hardware. I don't have a RX 480. I don't have anything else. I don't have a 1060. I'm still on a 9 series 980 Ti graphics card. In case some of you guys are like, oh man, I don't think I want to do it. I've heard some, and there have been a lot of complaints in the forums. Don't get me wrong, there's been a crap ton of complaints, but it's actually gotten better now. There's been several updates, a couple screw ups, but there've been several updates, and it's actually working pretty decent now. It's not bad. I should be getting more than I'm currently getting with a 980 Ti. This game is very demanding. It shouldn't be as demanding, but it is. And you know, I understand it's Turn 10's first time on PC, welcome. But still, I don't think that should be too much of an excuse. Here's the video. I was playing the game, and it was doing pretty good. Now, I did drop in the 40s before in the city, even after the latest update, but it didn't happen. I wasn't able to replicate it, so it didn't happen again. But for the most part, I stayed well above 80 frames per second, going down to maybe 60. I've seen 57 as the lowest. I was trying to look, and I was driving, I was looking, and I got into some accidents, but it's like, okay. And that's the lowest I saw. The lowest I saw was 57 frames per second. So with the 980 Ti, 4790K, overclocked to 4.7 gigahertz, the cache is at 4.1 from 4.0. Memory is 2133, 16 gigabytes. And you know, it's not bad. It's really not. Now, I did buy the game initially when it came out, I believe. I'm sure I bought it the day it came out, and then I refunded it like a month later, or before the month ended. I think you have 30 days to refund it or something like that. I don't remember the exact policy. I did take it back. It's like, I can't deal with this. I just cannot. With it dropping into the 40s all the time. It dropped consistently into the 40s. Every time you get into the city, anytime you did the rain, you're in the rainforest and you have cars and you have rain and you got all the trees, I would still drop into the 40s, and it really pissed me off. And the final straw was when I tried to launch the game at one point, and it said that I didn't meet the minimum requirement. I got really hurt, and I just take it back. I refunded the game, and I bought the game back again like a month and a half later. Okay, a month and a half later, I bought the game again, and since then it's been like another patch, multiple patches, I guess. I think maybe 2-3 patches between then, and then when I got the game back, another patch. And you know, now it's working decent. It's decent now, but I gotta recommend this. People still complain. You know, people are like trying to find ways to sustain a solid 60 frames per second. That's the most optimal frames per second for any PC game. You want to be at 60 frames per second minimum, on the minimum. Okay, you don't want to really go under that. You want to be at 60 frames, especially if you have high-end hardware. You don't want to go down to 60 frames per second. So there's still a lot of complaints, but the game is working better now. It doesn't drop down into the 40s anymore as much. I can't catch that really. It's kind of rare if it happens a little bit, kind of rare, but I should still be sustaining higher frames per second. I should be able to run this game at 1440p, still obtaining about 80-70 frames per second. But unfortunately, that's not the case. The game is unfortunately still very demanding, especially if you're thinking that, okay, you drop down to 40 frames per second, Fabian, it's not that bad. Well, you know, Xbox One and their weaker hardware, no disrespect to all you fans out there, it's cool. I'm happy you got an Xbox One, that's cool. But I'm just saying, I have a high-end system, and I would like to achieve at least 60 frames per second minimum, and nothing lower than that. So, with that being said, with the Xbox One, you know, it's running at 30 frames per second. I believe they've said high settings just about, 4x anti-aliasing by default. I don't remember the resolution. I don't know if it's 900p or 1080p, but regardless of that, I have a much more powerful system, and I should be more capable of being able to strive at higher frames per second Yeah, I can't see it, but still, you got to understand that even though I can't see the frames per second, it gives me a good. Maybe I could just up the resolution at some point, but I can't really do that. So I stay at 1080p. I kept the game at 1080p, and I was just playing it, and you know, it was fine. It was great. GPU usage did go up to about 98% at some points. Even if I locked it at 60 frames per second, which is like, okay, at that point, your frame's gonna start dropping if some other effect goes on the screen. A friend of mine has a 4770K stock. I don't know, you buy a K processor and don't overclock it. I don't know what the world is really coming to, so why buy a K processor? Okay, cool, whatever, fine. You wanna buy it, that's cool. Not overclock it, that's all right. But you know, the thing is he has a 780, and at times he would get 30 frames, 10 frames, 15 frames would drop down pretty far. But now he's able to maintain a solid 60 frames per second, right? That's great at low settings. Hell no, that's not, no. If I ever have to run my game at low settings, I need to upgrade my rig. Personally, that's how I feel. I'm never, ever going to play a game at low settings. I can't do a benchmark on this game because there's no tool to actually do a benchmark with. Like, I use Fraps, and Fraps hasn't been updated since 2013. You gotta understand this. Ridiculous. No competition. That's their issue right there. They have no competition. So no, 2013 was the last update that they've actually given out. I've heard news that they're working to support the X12, but waiting. Take your time, but waiting. I couldn't benchmark the game because I don't know. Maybe do you guys know any tools? No, I don't. I Googled it. So I think it's still good. If you guys want to pick it up, I recommend picking it up on sale. I did buy it for $80 for the deluxe edition, and then I returned the copy and picked up the standard edition for about $40 on sale. So if you guys want to go ahead, wait for another sale to come up, I would definitely recommend you guys picking it up. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, if they're going to pick the game up, please at least have a GTX 900 series, a 970 at least at the minimum, or I would say a R9 290. I want to say at the minimum to get at least 60 frames per second. For 60 frames per second, those are the cards I recommend. If you have a 7 series GPU, if you have a 6 series GPU, I wouldn't recommend you picking the game up because you're not gonna get great frames per second. You're gonna have a lot of complaints. There's benchmarks out there that show. So if you do want to pick the game up, make sure you have a 9 series graphics card. If you want to pick up a 980 Ti, you know, those go for $350 secondhand. You can pick up a 1070, that's also fine. If you have a 1070, that's fine. A 1060 is okay. A 1060 is also fine too. And even the RX 480, you know, those cards, the higher end cards, not the higher end cards, but more recent cards are definitely fine because it seems like they're very picky on the graphics cards that they're optimizing for. Yes, if you have a 7 series, you might be having some trouble with performance and all that stuff. So just go ahead and definitely pick up a 9 series and above, or for the AMD side, at least a R9 290. Maybe you can go a little bit lower. I'm not really sure. Just check out some other benchmarks in there. If you have a specific card, just check it out. See what the benchmarks are like for that card, what you can really achieve with it. So with that being said, I'm out because I talk too much. I understand. I'm sorry. I do a lot of talking. So, all right. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon.